I'm Professor Moricone, clinical lecturer at Iona University in the Division of Arts and Sciences in the biology department. Today I'm with Julia Thomas, who is a graduate of May 2023 from Iona University with a biology degree, who currently attends Optometry school in Massachusetts. Welcome, Julia. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So the purpose of these interviews is to hopefully inform prospective students about, what we have to offer in the biology department. So I know you were a student athlete for 4 years, but putting that sort of aside, what was it that attracted you to Iona?
So I really enjoyed Iona when I came on all the tours and visits. I really liked what their biology department had to offer in terms of the different classes they had, the on-campus labs that they had, reading about the different research opportunities that the teachers had there, and also, of course, just the campus is beautiful and the location so close to New York City. There was just so many things that I really loved about Iona.
So as a biology major, what were some of the courses that you were required to take?
So there was a lot of different courses that we were required to take. Obviously, you had to take all the intro biology and chem and physics classes, and then you had to take some upper year and harder classes like cell bio, molecular biology, organic chemistry. There was many different upper level classes, but they all were definitely helpful, and I actually enjoyed all of them.
Now, as a student athlete, I know it's difficult. So how do you, and the rigors of a biology degree are, fairly high. So as a student athlete, how did you personally, manage that?
Yeah, so it definitely was very hard. And I think time management was my biggest friend throughout the 4 years. It's just kind of learning about when it's time to do work and when it's time to kind of take some time off and relax and maybe hang out with friends and do stuff like that. So I think just really finding out what works for me, what study habits work for me. I know for myself personally, I had to go to the library to do work. So I'd be in the library, I would do work, I would be there for however long I took, I'd study. And then when I came back from the library, that's when I would give myself time to relax and hang out with friends and do other hobbies. But definitely making sure that you set time apart to do everything that you need to get done. And then you'll obviously have time to relax, and then I always had time for practice and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's just staying on a strict schedule, so then you don't get too overwhelmed and you don't get behind on any of your classes.
So and I think that becomes an issue for even ordinary students that aren't athletes, that they have difficulty with time management when they first start. Tell us a little bit about this honors college that you told me you were in.
Yeah, so as well as being a bio major and volleyball, I was also in the honors college. So you just had to apply before you came to school, and then it's a relatively easy process. And then if you get in, then you just take an honors class pretty much every semester, which in the beginning it just starts as like seminar classes. So you meet every few days and you all read a book, and then you discuss that book and the different themes and the topics in the book. And then as you get a little bit older to your junior and senior year, then you have to work on a thesis. And so since I was a biology major, I did my senior thesis in this research that I worked on. But I know other people who were business majors, English majors, you can do a thesis on whatever you want. But yeah, then at the end of senior year, you have to present your thesis on, it's called thesis day. And yeah, you have to present to all your classmates and see what everyone's working on. And it was really fun to present your own work and then also support your friends.
Excellent. Now, you did mention something about research. So as a biology major, you were able to do some research. What was that research on?
So I did research in the biology lab with Dr. Muller. We did it on the mating processes with Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is just a strain of yeast. So I would go in there 2-3 times a week, work in the lab, saw different results, and I did it for like 3 years, from sophomore year to senior year. And yeah, it was basically just on the mating patterns and different characteristics of the yeast cells.
So was this were you able to publish this paper with Professor Muller?
No, because we I think that he either is going to continue the research after I graduated, so maybe this year or in the future, but we weren't able to get enough data because the thing about research is you have to prepare for negative results, for experiments to not go well. So at the end of the day, you could be in there for years and years and years and not have sufficient enough data, which I'm sure you're familiar with. But yeah, so we found a lot of data, but not quite enough to publish it. But hopefully in the future, maybe he can continue it and then eventually publish it.
How about some of your favorite biology instructors that you had?
So definitely Dr. Muller, the one I just mentioned I did research with, he was definitely one of my favorites. I had him for so many classes. I think senior year I had him for almost every single class that I was taking, just because he happened to teach a lot of the senior year classes. And I also really loved Dr. Zuckerman and Dr. Kahn. They were two other really great professors that I had, and I really enjoyed their classes. And they really, all the professors at Iona, but especially those, it really felt like they cared about your future and they wanted you to succeed.
Tell us a little bit about why optometry now. What got you interested in that?
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those cliche stories, but I've always been someone who's worn glasses and contacts. So when I was younger, I just remember, I think I was in 3rd grade, I went and I got glasses for the first time. And I just remember that feeling of being able to see and almost being like speechless. I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, like those trees aren't blobs, they're trees. Like I remember saying that to her, and just that feeling, I wish I could just give that feeling to other people, because sight is one of your basic life needs. So helping people to see, and also just working in a hospital with healthcare, I just really enjoy helping people, and I just think that it's a very interesting field. In addition, like I just have always loved STEM and science, and so there was just a bunch of different things that lined up for me with optometry school.
So with that being said, what could you tell us now that you're there about perhaps the admission process, any testing you had to take? Obviously, you know, you were a good student at Iona, you graduated with the biology degree. What that process, what was that like for you now that you're there? So everything, I guess, from, you know, when did you start this whole process of trying to get in?
So in order to get to optometry school, you have to take something called the OAT, which is the optometry admission test. And it's very similar to the MCAT for medical school. Basically, you have to take this test and you have to get within a certain range to get into the schools that you want to. So for what I did personally, and it worked well for me, is my junior year summer, I took the entire summer and I studied every single day, 5-6 hours a day. And I prepared for all the questions and the different tests on the actual test, because there was a bunch of different sections on it. And then I took it at the end of that junior year summer, and thankfully I did well and I did how I wanted to do. And then I applied end of the summer going into senior year. And then once you start applying to places and they are interested in you, then they'll send you an email asking for an interview. And then you'll go and do an interview either in person or on Zoom. And then after the interview, they'll email you again saying if you are being welcomed into the school or if they're not interested. So yeah, it was definitely a very interesting process doing it while being in school. I know a lot of people and friends I have here that took a gap year just to study for a whole year and do all the interviews. But me personally, I just wanted to go right into school after graduating. So I definitely took a lot of patience, and I had to be very good at time management again to be able to balance doing all the interviews and studying while doing other things in life. But I wouldn't change anything that I did, and obviously it was all worth it because I ended up here and it's all going really well so far.
Absolutely. And with that, I would like to thank you for taking some time out today to visit with us. And I know you're busy with your schedules and your finals are probably coming up, so good luck with all of that. I'm Professor Moricone for Iona University.